Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I'm excited to have my next guest with me today. I have Aaron, and we spend a lot of time together. Yes, you guys on Clubhouse. I actually have the room How to Eat an Elephant in 21 Days. And Aaron is a very integral part of that club. It has created such a community, family, whatever you want to call it. We spend most of our mornings together. So we're going to get into some great topics. But as you can see with his background, we're going to be talking about money. But before we get into that, I want to give Aaron the opportunity to introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Kono. I'm known as the Master of Cash Flow because too many people say cash is king, and that's not true. Cash flow is king because you can have $100 in your pocket and it can be gone like that. Same with 1,000, same with 10,000. All it is adding zeros. So people need a steady cash flow coming in, or else they won't be able to pay their bills. And if they won't be able to pay their bills, they won't be able to do stuff with life. So that's what I help people realize. I'm good with when it comes with individuals. I help them with money management because I started my money management when I was very, very, very young compared to a lot of people. And I also help businesses grow with online marketing, email marketing, and text messaging. So that's how I roll when it comes with cash flow. And yeah.
I love that. So, cash is king, okay? So, what is it that we really get wrong? So, you mentioned that sometimes we don't have the mindset. So, what is something that we really are doing wrong when it comes to thinking about money?
Well, one big thing people do wrong is they don't know really where their money is going. They don't have it planned out as detailed as they need it planned. Yes, they might know, hey, my electric bill is due this time. Yes, my blah, blah, blah bill is due this time. But they don't wean it down to the price, to the time period. And another thing people don't, because I've heard so many times when I talk to people, they're like, I have so many bills in the last half of the month because of rent and this and this and this. And I'm like, well, then did you call the companies that you could change the rent? Or not the rent, the due date for the bills? Because I sure did. I can do that with my credit cards. I can do that with my electric bill, my phone bill. The only ones I can is pretty much my rent. And like, no, because like a lot of times people don't do that. And when it comes with a lot of people, they either get paid bi-weekly or weekly normally if they work at a regular job. And what you want to do is you want to keep your bills half and half, between the two parts of the month and stuff. And if they're even with the two parts of the month, it'll be a lot easier because most people, they get paid the same amount per hour if they work an hourly job. So they would get about the same paycheck every other week or every week. So
Good point. I think
that.
that's awesome because I think a lot of people don't think, we just think the bills are what they are. We don't even entertain the fact that they could be changed for the due date and things of that nature. So, when we're thinking about a budget, a lot of us say we need to have a spending plan, whatever we want to call it, to be in a positive mindset about it. What percentage should we have in whatever category? Because sometimes, you notice that people just, oh, I get paid, and they don't really have a structure. So what kind of structure should we have with that?
Well, I know, like me personally, I don't look at it as a percentage that much because you can see that all over the place. One big thing I tell people though is because I talked to this one guy who I used to work with when I used to work retail, and he said how much his rent was every month, and I asked him how much do you get paid, and it was pretty much 50% of his paycheck, 50% of his income. And I told him, why? Oh, because I live alone, because I don't have much going on right now. I can afford this nice apartment. And I told him, I'm like, you shouldn't do that. So what I tell people is if they are going by the number, their rent or mortgage should not be more than 30% your income. And try to make it as little as you possibly can. Like I know different parts of this different country, or not different countries, different states, rents are different for different parts of the states, but same with income. A lot of people complain that, oh, my rent is more at this state And I asked him, I'm like, well, how much do you guys make per hour? And he's, oh, this much. And normally it's more. When rent and stuff are more expensive at other states, normally their income is more as well. So, but when it comes with you got to just figure out what the bill is. Like when it comes with like electric and heat, it's really hard to have that as a certain percent of your income, because you need heat. Especially where I live up in Wisconsin, we do need heat, but we don't heat every single room. I remember when I first lived alone, I didn't have to pay for heat because heat was included. But then when I had to pay for heat, I learned very quickly. People don't learn quickly. They tend to brush it off. They're like, I'll pay this electric bill. I learned quick when I got my first electric bill. I'm like, this is crazy. So what did I had to think? What do I want to heat up? I heated up my bedroom because I have to sleep at night, and it gets really cold at night up in Wisconsin. And that's pretty much it. I didn't heat my living room, kitchen. I turned the heater on a little bit so that water didn't freeze, but other than that, I heated up my bedroom and kept my door closed, so that I can pay as little as I possibly could, because that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to pay as little as I possibly could so that I can put more money into myself.
That's a very good point. My husband and I, we lived in a town called Columbus, Georgia, and we had to move to Atlanta area because he got a job with Walmart. He was going to be a store manager and everything. And we moved into this house. I mean, it was huge. It had like 2 different air conditioners, 2 heaters, and the first bill we got was like $900. So we learned real quick that thing about, hey, we turning off the air here, we're turning off the heat. We learned about the timing system, but that is such a good point. You can just throw money away when it comes to your utilities, because we're not even just disciplined to think about, what's wrong with having a blanket or getting a heated blanket and certain things, wearing socks and house shoes in the house instead of having this mindset of spending all that extra money. So that is a good point. So for people who are learning how to get started on this path of better spending, what is some tips that are easy that we can implement when it comes to changing our money story?
Well, one thing I love is I love free money. Everyone loves free money. But one thing you don't want to do is don't buy stuff you don't need. I know when I used to work retail, and I didn't want to say the word because I didn't know what the rules were with like saying companies' names, but I used to work Walmart for 14 years. So
okay.
When I used to work there, whenever new releases of DVDs came out, we would have lines of people waiting for them. And I just never got why people bought DVDs, because this is what happens. You buy the DVD, you open it up. If you open it up, you watch it once, and then it sits on your shelf for months. And then when it comes with movies in general, you're going to watch it again anyway. Anything's going to be different? Nothing's going to be different. It's the 2 hours that you're going to be wasting of your life anyway. So I just never got why people bought those types of things. And same with game systems. You don't need the newest game system. The only reason why you should buy the newest game system and keep going up in life is if you're playing online and people are watching you and you're making money from with it. That is the only way where I could see, because I don't know why. I still don't get why people watch other people playing games and pay them watching them play a video game. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me, but that's my own opinion. Just don't buy stuff you don't need. And when it comes with free money, one big thing I do, this is a little hack that I tell people, is I have a credit card, and I get rewards for everything I buy. So I put everything I possibly can on my credit card, everything, but I pay it off the next day. I use it the same concept as a debit card, where it comes from my account the next day, but I pay it with my credit card, so I keep getting rewards points. And then normally, like once or twice a year, I can buy like a $100 or $200 item. This year I didn't buy anything, so I was able to buy my iPad with my rewards points. I had $350 in rewards points, So I use that to buy my iPad because I didn't have an iPad before Clubhouse. So I use my rewards points for it. But what you want to do when it comes with credit cards, though, is just be careful with your spending. Don't just buy and buy and buy because it's going to be due next month. I know a hack that I did when it comes with that is figure out what your weekly amount is that you have for essentials. Figure out what that is. And because most people, when they buy essentials, they normally go to the same store. You know, most people here, we have a place called Woodman's and Walmart. Most people go to those places because both those stores have everything and it's not crazily overpriced. We do have a store that is really ridiculously overpriced, but people still go there. But most people here go to Woodman's or Walmart. And one hack you can do is when you figure out the amount that you can spend every month, divide that by 4 and put that on a gift card for that place that you are buying, for that place that you're buying your essentials, whatever the amount is. You know, I don't have any kids. I lived alone. So my amount, this is very low, just to let you know, my amount was $25 a week. And then what happens, some people, it can be $50 a week, some people $100 a week. It doesn't matter. But just make that on your gift card for whatever essential place you're buying your stuff. And then once that gift card is gone, you cannot buy anything else until the next day of the week, whatever you plan on doing. I normally did mine on Thursdays because that's when we got paid. So if it was Wednesday and the card was gone, I could not buy anything for all day Wednesday until Thursday came along. And then I reloaded the same gift card. And I did that with my credit card, so I got points for it. So I could still use my credit card. I could still get points for it, but it limited my amount of spending because I used the gift card to spend instead of the credit card. And that's a little hack I did for years and years and years and years.
That's awesome.
If people are horrible, I don't want to say horrible, if they're not the best with swiping and they're worried about spending too much with a credit card, that's what I did. I bought a gift card and used that for the week. And I say a week because I started it off with every 2 weeks because that's what I got paid. I did I did $50 every 2 weeks. But there was times when that $50 was gone after 5 days or 6 days. And then I had a whole week I could not spend money. So I said to myself, instead of $50 every 2 weeks, I'll buy a $25 gift card every week. I can last 2 or 3 days without spending money. You know, so that's why I have it weekly. That's a little hack I have when it comes with using the credit card on a regular basis for spending money for essentials.
That's awesome. And, you know, so for many of us who are thinking about getting this credit card, you know, maybe we're kind of dipping our toe back into the credit situation. What type of credit card should they get? What do you recommend for that?
It depends from bank to bank. I know that I've had people tell me that they applied for it and got denied. I have no clue why they got denied. I'm not them. I got my credit card back in 2007. Back in 2007, I think it was. I don't know if it was more lenient. I don't know if it was because it was me first living on my own. Because I know when people live on their own, there's some sort of housing thing when you do your first mortgage and stuff. It might have been like that with a credit card. I don't know. But what I did was I just paid my bills on time. I have over 750 credit score. And I have essential credit card. I have a credit card for our car. If we need car, like every time we get an oil change, I'll use that for the credit card, so I keep it going. And then I also have a credit card for learning, like online learning and stuff. But I don't max out the credit card. I don't use the credit card unless I know I'm going to be paying it off right away. Because I know I used the credit card when me and my wife, when we went to Florida a couple years ago, I used the credit card for that. I did partial payments, but I did not do a payment until I had the money or until she had the money. And until she gave me the money, then I used my credit card to pay it off. And guess what? I got points for it. And just to be fair, I did not take all those points from me. We used those points for like Uber, for like a Uber card and stuff when we were down in Florida. So I love rewards. I love rewards points. I love credit cards. People might think I'm nuts, but just apply for one. What you want to do is apply for one and don't max it out. Too many people get their credit card and they're like, "All right, got to get a TV," even though I already have three. I'm like, why do you have three TVs? When I grew up, we had one TV.
One TV. Yeah. I mean, it was a big deal when I was able to get a TV in my room. Okay. So I feel you on that. But I mean, my thing is we spend all this money on these huge TVs. Who's watching them though? Are you really spending the amount of time based on how much you're investing in that? Yeah, I don't know. I just, but I've grown to that. I mean, at first I guess I used to be part of the whole clan with them. Um, so I love these things that you're mentioning because I think it's important. And you're also talking about the work that
Mhm.
goes into it. You know, having the discipline, getting the gift cards, uh, paying your credit card off immediately. I love that. So talk to us about savings. How do we start moving forward with creating a nest egg, an emergency fund, or things like this? What are some low hanging fruit, so to speak, stuff that we can do for that?
I know what I do is I I have a decent amount in my savings account. But then at the end of the month, normally I don't get much in my oh my god, I can't think, my other account, not my savings account, but my, it's not credit account. Anyway, the bank account that's not my savings account. Um,
Okay.
I can't think of it. I can't
So
think of.
much money you don't know, but hey, we
Yeah.
did it.
But what you want to do is, like, after all my bills are paid, I take the extra money and I put it into my savings account. I do that every month. I take all the extra money and put it in my savings account, and that money in my savings account can be money I invest for whatever I want to invest to. Uh, but when you invest into things, do your research. Don't go out there and invest into piles of things, because there's a lot of non-trusty people out there and stuff in the world. So you got to do your research before you invest into anything. But that's what I normally do. I know I've heard so many times from people that want to pay yourself first. I don't really pay myself first because I have my money managed so good that I don't really pay myself first. Like, I can say I pay myself first because I have 40% of my income going to different businesses and different educational things for myself. So I can say I pay myself first, but it's managed so well I don't really need to pay myself first. And then if I get a month where I spend less money, or the electric bill is smaller or whatever, I'll take all that extra money and just drop it right into my savings account. I won't go out there and buy something that I don't need, because, like I said, I don't really buy. When people buy stuff, they buy stuff over emotion a lot of times, and it's psychological. A lot of times, if you see something you want, wait 2 days. If you give yourself 2 days, you're gonna realize you don't need that thing anyway, whatever that thing is. So I really don't buy anything unless I'm gonna absolutely use it, use it, use it. Yes, I bought that $400 tablet or iPad, but I use it every day. Yes, 2016, I bought $350 headphones when we went to our first time on a flight, but I use them all the time, and I don't upgrade my headphones. I've had them ever since 2016, and I use them all the time. And a lot of people, they don't use their stuff. Like, if they buy a game system, they play it for a couple weeks, and then it's a dust collector, and it just sits there. You
So
know.
true. I love that. And it's really asking ourselves these hard questions because we forget that. We look at the items, or, I don't know what we're associating with having these things, but it's our actual behavior, the discipline or lack of discipline that still shows up whether we get this item or not. And I think it has a lot to do with what are you doing with your time? I don't really watch TV. I don't watch the news. So a lot of these advertisements, they don't even apply to me. I'm not, going to fast food. I'm a vegetarian. So some of the things, it's about your lifestyle. When you make those choices, you use different spending situations or mindsets because you're not being involved in all that. So talk to us about your routine to help you to be as disciplined as you are with your finances.
One of my things I have is I have Chase Bank. I've had them for years and years and years, and I know they have some sort of money management thing on their app. But ever since I got my first cell phone, it was not a smartphone. It was just a flip phone that took forever for internet. So I never used it for the internet way back in the day. But ever since I had that phone, I always used a checkoff list of bills. And what I have on there, it's just a checkoff list where I check the boxes, and then I can either delete the boxes or I can uncheck them. And I just uncheck them because I use them every single month. And on there are all my bills, every single bill, the dollar amount, and the due date. And when it comes with the dollar amount, you always want to raise up with the dollar amount. Like, let's just say, for instance, our cell phone bill is normally like 200, 200, somewhere around like 216, 211, somewhere around there. So I upped it to 220. I have on there $220 for electric bill, even though I know it's less. I just have it so it's easy math for me, and I get more money in my bank account because I think I'm spending more. And all I do is when I pay it off, when I pay the bills off every 2 weeks, I just check them, so I know what I need to pay at what time. And then after all them are checked, I just uncheck them all. It's not using technology that much because, like I said, there's piles of apps out there that say they'll manage your money for you and blah 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 this and blah 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 that. I have no clue. I just like to keep it simple. I've been doing this for years with this checkoff list, and it's been working really good. And yeah, and then just like I said, like have the dollar amount, but have the dollar amount raised to a certain amount. And like when it comes with electricity, if like people's electricity fluctuates, like with like winter and like stuff like that, another thing what you want to do, because sometimes electricity is cheaper in summer, not only be if you're paying for heater or sometimes, but a lot more people pay for air conditioning though too. So I don't know how that works, but when you leave your house, for instance, when you're on vacation for a week, it'll be a little bit less. So another thing what people can do is they can look at because what I did was I looked at last year's electric bills all year for all the months. I took all the months, I added them all up, and I divided by 12. And that was how much my electric bill was for every single month. So that it was the same amount, but it really wasn't. It's more than normally what my electric bill normally is, and I would take the rest of it and I would just throw it into my savings account. And then if I had a month where instead of $100 it was like $120 or whatever, I'd have the money to pay it off. And so that's normally what I do with some of my bills.
Yeah, now, so your mindset definitely is different than most people, just seeing how you're managing your money and things like that. And, right now it's a great benefit, but I'm sure there were times when you had this mindset, other people are like, what is going on? Why can't you do this? So talk to us about the discipline that you have to be an advocate for yourself for the things that most people may not be doing.
Reword that one.
So like, you're doing things that are normally your friends might say, oh, why are you so particular about how you spend money? Have fun, come and join us or whatever. But, there are times where you have to stand out in a way because of what you're building, because of what you're working on, that other people don't embrace that. Okay. So how do you have the strength to continue doing that?
I just do it. I've been doing it ever since I lived alone. I did not buy stuff I did not need. I had a lot. I wasn't as lucky as some people where they get a car bought for them when they're 16, but when I started living on my own, I got some stuff bought for me, and I borrowed my sister's couch. Like I bought like my aunt and my grandma bought me a bed and some essentials, and guess what? I still have those essentials. I still use them, because I don't need brand new stuff. We did switch a different bed though because my wife was getting a little uncomfortable with with that old bed, so we did buy a new bed. But people just need to learn to manage their money. And the thing about it though is that most people wait until they're in their 30s or 40s, because 30 and 40 is a mindset for how old you are. Just like 20, yay, I'm not a teenager anymore. Yay, one more year to drink, But when people grow up, normally they're in their teens, they live with their parents or whoever they're living with, going to school. They know a little bit about money, but not that much at all because their parent normally pays for a lot of the bills. Then if they're in their 20s and they start living on their own, that's when they're, oh yeah, party, let's buy crap we don't need, even though they shouldn't be buying the stuff they don't need, like if you don't use it if it doesn't make you money, then why buy it? That's the way I look at it. If I'm not using it on a regular basis to make me money, what's the point about buying it? It either has to help me with my wealth or my health. That's the way I look at it, but I don't go out there and buy piles and piles of equipment to work out and stuff. I have one workout, well, I have two now, but what you need to do is you need to look at how much money you spend, because a lot of people, they just brush it off. When I got my first credit card bill, I looked at it. It was like it was just over $400. And I asked them, I'm like, holy cow! I didn't realize the money I was spending with that credit card, because that was my first credit card bill, my very first credit card bill. And I looked at it, and all I had to pay was the $25. And I'm like, and I called them up. Most people don't do this. I called up the credit card company. I asked them, why do I only have to pay $25 on this $400 credit card bill? And they're like, well, that's your minimal payment. And I'm like, I know, but what's going to happen with the other $375? Is it just going to disappear? I asked them that. And they're like, no, it's still going to be on the bill, but you're going to be charged interest on it. I'm like, that's not good, because that's one reason why you don't want to do the minimal payments, because interest on credit cards is crazy. So that's why I pay mine off every 2 weeks at the very least. Or like I said, if I do a larger purchase on it, I pay it off right away from my checking account. But for anyone younger, they just need to manage it and see how much money they make, see how much money they can spend, and don't buy crap you don't need. You don't need the newest game system. You don't need the next TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I love that.
They don't do anything with your life anyway. This day and age, TVs is background noise because you have a cell phone. There's so many times I go to friend's house or family's house and their TV's on, nobody's watching it. They're looking at their cell phone. And I'm like, what's the point of the TV then? All it is background noise this day and age. That's all it is.
So true. I mean, and I love you said it's either building your wealth or your health. And I think that mindset is so good. And, that's just not a mindset that most people have. Like you said, we grow into that, and it's not popular. And you have to do things different than other people to have that kind of mindset. So, I guess my last question is, as it goes with Clubhouse, because, we spend a lot of time there on that app. And, some people are like, Clubhouse, what is it? I feel like my life is just entrenched in Clubhouse. Sometimes I talk to people about it. They're like, what is it? So the fact that they don't know what it is just really baffles me. But what has Clubhouse done for you? What do you like about it?
One thing I like about it is that it's pretty much just audio. So you can take it while you're cooking food. You can take it and on the road, listening to it on your headphones, or, well, you shouldn't have two headphones in when you're driving, but listen to it on the radio. You don't have to worry about like where you are, because I know with a lot of videos and people in general, they gotta worry about what's in the visual space when they're doing any kind of video, whether it's a podcast, whether it's just a Facebook Live. People do that all the time with pictures and stuff. But that's one thing I liked about it. Another thing I really like about it that was not with a lot of other social medias is that these are smart people on Clubhouse. It's crazy on how these people are, and uh, it's not a lot of them aren't like, hey, send me a mess, I'll send you a message, and then they start bombarding you with buying their stuff, buying their stuff, like I get on Facebook. And then with it being linked up with LinkedIn or not LinkedIn, Instagram or Twitter, if anyone uses Twitter anymore. I don't really use Twitter that often anymore. But mostly people use Instagram. You can see how the people are and see if it's actually true of how they are with it. But most people on Clubhouse, it's real. It's a really cool thing. But if you don't have any kind of Apple devices, then find some way. You can either find some way to buy it, or you might just have to wait. Who knows what's going to happen when it comes with Android, because I heard a long time ago that Android was going to get it. But who knows when it's going to start? I have no clue. And I'll keep my iPad because I'll use it as a tablet for whatever other thing I have. And it's nice having Clubhouse just on my tablet, because then I'm not getting alerts on my phone all the time for different groups. And normally when it comes to Clubhouse, I'm not a Clubhouseaholic. I normally listen to it in the morning, and then midday I might take a peek and see what's going on, or else I'll have people message me. If it's a very, very important group to go to, they'll message me and be like, okay, I'll hop on in and stuff. So like, I like it because the people just, they're smart people. And on Facebook, there's a lot of fake people. It might grow into it, at some point in time it might. I know I've heard people in different groups say, I don't like it because I have these negative groups. And I'm like, well, then don't go to them, block them. There's in my filter, I had this one group from some other country that had little swizzles for their language. I don't know if it was Japanese or whatever. I did not know what it was. Guess what? I deleted it or blocked it or whatever. You don't need to go into the groups. It is your choice if you go into the groups. I know I can't think of the dude's name, but he had dark hair. He was on Howard Stern. I think he was Howard Stern. He mentioned, I think it was him. He said straight out, he doesn't care if the people love him or the people hate him. It doesn't matter to him. They're still watching him. It doesn't matter. It's still giving him people are watching him. The numbers are still up there, and it's messing with the algorithm. Don't care if anyone loves you or hates you. It doesn't matter. It's their opinion, And if you don't like a group, don't go in. You don't need to.
I love that. I mean, that's just common sense right there. So that is so true. So what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you? You've dropped some gems about money and finances, and your message could resonate with so many. So how do they get a hold of you?
The best way would be if you want to set up a Zoom together. I have Straight Outta Cashflow, Straight Outta right here, straightoutacashflow.com. I have to say that because people say straight out of cash flow, but whatever.
You got to keep them hip and with the times. I get you.
Yeah, and it's eye-catching because I know people tell me, they're like, I'm straight out of cash flow too. And I'm like, well, you want to be straight full of cash flow? Come to my website and we can set up a Zoom, And that really gets people's mind. But with that, that's probably the best site because it has a little questionnaire of like just very simple questions. They're just multiple choice questions, so I know what's going on, so we can set up a time for a Zoom. That's the best way to get a hold of me. If you want information when it comes with growing your business online, you can go to the masterofcashflow.com. That shows you about growing your business online or starting a new business if you don't have a business at all.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited. You have gave us some golden nuggets. We need to take some notes and implement these nuggets. So often we hear stuff, but we don't take action. That's the thing I say. So what final words do you want to share with everybody today?
Very, very simple, but learn to manage your money. You know, you, you got to have money in order to put bread on the table. You know, that's just how life rolls. And if you have like a significant other that manage your money for you, that's fine. That's your guys' choice. Um, but me personally, with me and my wife, I have both of us. We have both managed money. So like she owes 50% of the bills, I owe 50% of the bills because we make the same amount. But if there's someone in the family that's the main money maker, depends on what percent that person is. I know my sister, she makes pretty much all the money, and then her husband like hunts and stuff and like gets all the food and stuff like that, you know. And that's how they roll. I know she told me she pays him $250 a month because that's what she can pay him for whatever the hell he wants, and whenever his money's gone, his money's gone. Uh but what you want, people just need to learn to manage their money and learn what they're spending it on. And look around your house. A lot of people don't realize this. Look around your house and look at all the stuff that you have that a lot of people don't have. There's some people out there who don't got TVs. There's some people out there who don't have the amazing couch that you have that reclines and has USB drives and a wireless charger on it and stuff, you know. What people need to do is appreciate what they have and don't be like, man, I wish I had this or I wish I had that. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that don't have what you have, just to let you know.
That is so true. Well, this has just been some great nuggets. I hope everybody was taking notes. And Aaron, it is just such a pleasure to see you in person. We have these little circles of ourselves that we see every day, Monday through Friday. And you're the one with the green background. But it's so good to see you live and, virtually.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing your insights with everybody. And for those of you watching, I encourage you to reach out to Aaron. Get on that Zoom call, start managing your money and stop letting your money manage you, because you deserve to have a life that you want, especially if you're working every day. And so if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be sure to get them to Aaron so he can get them answered for you. And thank you again, Aaron, for coming and sharing today.
Not a problem.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you guys for watching. Share this with a friend, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.